because for me, I want to stand on that stage and showcasing to the other people that Cambodia is also good. So for me, I always have that mindset whenever I go abroad, because I want to showcase that to the other, like the Southeast Asian friends, or like to the other countries. So at the end of the day, joining those programs, it does not just allow me to bring Cambodia on the international stage, but also allow me to learn something new. So those soft skills, including like when we learn from the other countries' fellow or the other like countries' friends, because like when we learn from different cultures and different countries, it allowed us to expose to different understanding of like how one country work. Or for example, sometimes when we read the news of one country, we find it only like at this layer, but then when we get to talk to those people in that country, we actually can discover deeper than that. So for me, that actually helped me a lot with my understanding and also the exposure to different country contexts.
Greetings everyone, I'm Usaran from Cambodianess. In front of me is Ung Khemara Bormey. She is an outstanding female public speaker and debater as well. So Bormeychan and her two teammates recently became champions of the JCI Asia Pacific Conference Debate Championship 2026. Their achievement and representation of Cambodia on the international stage made the whole nation proud of them. So without further delay, so let's hear more about Bormeychan, maybe about her academic background, her talents in debating, as well as her professional career. So Bormeychan, let's talk about your debating. You have built your strong interest in debating since maybe young age. So what first inspire you, and how the experience shaped your confidence and as well as the communication skills?
All right, Bong, yes. So for me, I have started debate around 9th grade. So back then, debate knowledge is not really like well exposed in the community at all. So which means for me, I watched debate from YouTube, and I know debate from my senior back then. So during that time, even though I joined my first ever debate competition in my 9th grade, but I don't really know much what debate really is, so what I learned is just try to understand the structure of debate from the YouTube video itself. So, but back then, for me, I just find that I love talking. That's why I try various things in terms of public speaking and debating as well. And then it's turned out that when I joined those debate competition at first, I was very nervous, because during that time I find, because my English was not that good back then as well, so that my confidence is not that really good as well back then as well. Because during that time, since my English was not that very good, I have a limited understanding when it's come to listening to the other people talking. So that's why I find debate sort of like interesting, but at the same time something that I find it very challenging, because in debate we're not just talking about our script, but we also have to listen to the other speaker, other debaters, in order to take note and rebut back what they have said earlier. So because of my English back then, I would say that it's also interesting but challenging at the same time. But still, I find that when I stand on stage at a very young age, it really helped me a lot with my stage fright, because I believe that people sometimes when they step on stage, they would feel scared. But because I got to experience that at around 9th grade back then, so that really helped me a lot.
So you mentioned about anxiety and also the English proficiency. So are these challenges still the obstacles that you face, and maybe share some tips on how to overcome those challenges?
Okay. So back then, since I first started my education, not English as my first language, so I find it to be like a barrier as well. However, actually, in order to improve English, it does not just take one night, it's really take a very long time, because English is not our first language, it's like our second language, so it's really require everyday practice. It's really require an efforts in order to keep talking in English with ourselves or with other people around. So I would say that my English start getting better after graduating from high school, and especially when I first stepped into the university, because during the university most of the classes will be in English. So back then I was exposed a lot to a lot of English during the class, even when it's come to the class conversation, presentation and stuff. So those really helped me a lot in terms of my English. So even now, I am not saying that my English is perfect, but I would say that I could become more flexible when it's come to using English, especially during the debate where it's require a very high flexibility.
So how about the confidence? Do you see like yourself change in terms of confidence and communication with others now?
Okay, for me, I think my confidence also improved a lot more because, to be honest, when we start to get used to something, that thing start to become a part of our life, and that is applying to the same thing in terms of like standing on stage, speaking on the microphone, and everything. Actually, sometimes of course we still feel nervous because at the end of the day, I'm still a human being, right? But still, when I first started at a very young age, so I start to get myself used to on the stage a lot, not just doing debate or public speaking. Sometimes I also do MC on the stage and with the microphone and everything. So those allowed me to build my confidence a lot more when it's come to standing on stage, because I start to feel like standing on stage, I start to have a mindset that when I stand on stage, it's the part or it's the place where I get to shine. So if I don't use that opportunity, I might not have that opportunity anymore. So I would say it's sort of like the indirect pressure to myself, but I think it's really worked a lot. So compared to before, I would say my confidence got so much better, even though sometimes we get pressure, we get nervous and we're shaking. But once I'm on stage, I know how to control that and especially try to do my best on the stage as well. So those really help a lot. While in terms of the communication, people know me as the extrovert, but actually I'm really an introvert one. I only talk a lot with the people I got very close with. But for me, in terms of communication, I try to interpret it in the way that when we know how to talk with the other people who we don't really know, but someone that we are not close to as well. So I try to interpret in that way, which I think that for me, when it's come to the communication with the people I don't really know well, I think it's also improved as well, because we know like, how to continue the conversation, we know how to use the word properly. So in terms of both confidence and communication, I would see a lot of improvement compared to the first time I started debating.
Beyond your confidence and English proficiency, what qualities are the qualities that you think make you an outstanding debater and public speaker? Because your experience goes beyond the national round, but also the international, like on international stage as well.
Okay, for me in debate, I think it does not just require the way we deliver our speech or the comment on stage, but there's other two things. First is about our knowledge in terms of the topic as well, because actually the topic, when it's come to debating topic, that there has no right or wrong. So it's about how we are trying to discover every angles of the topic itself. So I would say the knowledge of the debate topic is also very important, because once we get a very clear understanding about our team stance, about the debate topic itself, it's very helpful when it's come to critically thinking of like how can we rebut or how can we defend our own team. Beyond that, for me, I think my teammate also noticed that we learn about the art of noticing and the art of observing. So when we know our clear stance and we have a clear knowledge of our debate topic, we know how to notice and we know how to catch the mistake of the other team. So during that time, the art of listening and the art of observing and noticing is very important, because while listening to the other debaters from the other side, we do not just listen, but we are trying to listen and analyze which part of their speech is actually wrong and which part of their speech that we can catch in order to contradict or to rebut them back. So I think during debate, it's required a lot, not just going up on stage, speaking, but also the teamwork behind that, also the team spirit, whether or not we are having like a good chemistry within the teammates. But at the same time, it's also about our knowledge about our topic itself, especially how we are trying to listen, the art of listening and the art of observing and analyzing the other debaters.
But which part that you think is the most difficult one? Maybe the preparation or during debate itself?
For me, the most challenging one is during debate itself. Preparation is okay, but preparation is like between three of us, like as the team member, it would be fine. But during debate, the most challenging one is when we are listening the other teams talking, while we three have to discuss what part that we can catch on that one in order to rebut them back. So during that time, it's quite challenging because we have to keep listening while we have to keep discussing among ourselves quietly and writing each other like the note in order like, okay, you can mention this part, I will mention this part. So during the debate itself, it's like very, very challenging. It's about our self-confidence, like trying to listening to others, taking the notes, and especially even thinking of like what should we say back to defend ourselves, but also to rebut them back. So for me, preparation is one thing. Like we might do late night preparation, but during debate itself, like those like attention that we and those concentration that we have to put into debate is like very very important one. Actually, this is the only second time that Cambodian won at the Asia Pacific regional round, because actually when we competed, we didn't really expect much. From the first round until especially during the final round, the result was not announced immediately like the other round, so we have to wait for a day. So my teammate was very scared. They kept talking about the result. Actually, I kept telling them it's okay, no matter what, it's already ended. So at least we won 2 rounds already. But actually deep down, I was also nervous as well. But I tried to hide it so that everyone not gonna be nervous about the result itself. But when the result was announced, we can see the reaction in the video. We were really surprised. We were really happy because actually before the result announcement, we competed against many good countries, to be honest, especially Malaysia, known as a very top debaters. And last year they even won the global round. So we were really scared going against them. Mongolia as well, they were really good debaters. Thailand, the other good team as well. So actually we competed many good teams, but actually, I would say that because of our long late night preparation before coming to that stage, I would say that we were very happy that our efforts finally paid off. So at that time, we just patted ourselves and find that, okay, let's do much harder for the global round.
So how about the topics for each round? Like, are they different, or are those topics related to what you were studying in university?
So I would say the topic is the topic different from one round to another round. All topics were different. So I would say some topics were not really relevant to what we're studying at school. It's more into like the social issue, and it's more into like the leadership aspect itself. So I would say if I'm really using the knowledge from what I'm studying at school to apply to debate, I would say that we apply some of them. So even though the emotion is about the leadership itself, but when it's come to the case study or the example, we are using what we are learning in class. For example, we're talking about how the leader in one country lead the certain country, or how one leader can lead to the economic crisis and stuff. So even though the topic might sound like, oh, it's just a very simple topic, it's just about a leader, it's just about the social issue, but deep down, when it's come to analyzing the case study, we are using a lot more in terms of like what we study in class, not just about the global leader, the world leader, but we also touch upon what actually happened in the past, so that we are trying to use that to showcase, okay, even this topic is about the leadership, may sound like a simple leadership like us as you advocates, but deep down it's also touch upon the leaders who actually led the country, whether their leading strategy lead to success, or whether their strategy leading to any certain crisis. So I would say the topic are varied from one round to one round, but at the same time, the topic may sound simple when we look at the topic at first, but deep down, when we try to find the case study, is the most challenging one.
Because your teammates, they may come from different background. So how you connect with each other and like become outstanding during the competition?
Okay, so actually we three we sort of like come from the different background. Only 2 of us come from like a similar background, but another one from dentist background. So it's like a totally different. But we actually connect with each other through public speaking, and then like we form like we three as a public speaker form a teams to be a debating team. So at that time we actually have one goal, is like to make Cambodia proud, because when we went there, whenever they heard about Cambodia, they don't really think that we know how to speak English, or they might think that we were not really good debater at all. So when we went there, one question that we received is, instead of saying congratulations to us, we received one question: did you guys even pass this round? Yeah, so that was really something that we have in a common ground, that we need to make Cambodia proud. But at the same time, because of our passion in terms of like speaking and stuff, so we are trying our best to do in debate as well, because actually public speaking and debate are literally like 2 different things. However, due to our passion in like want to try something new in debating, so we just like form a team up, and especially when it's come to topic discussion, I would say that it's the most challenging one, because when we 3 come from different background. Example, my friend would know about dentists, and I don't know about dentists at all. And sometimes the topic is about the leaders, so it might involve more into like global affairs. So my friend might not know about that one. So that was when we're trying our best to simplify our explanation to one another in terms of our case study, because we should not think that, oh, it's just about the leader case study, everyone should understand. But in reality, that is not easy as it's said at all. Example, if we are from different background, trying to understand what the leader actually work in the global affair, is actually like two different worlds. So during that time, I would say when we try to explain each other the case study to align with one another, that is the most challenging one. But I would say due to our like good team spirit and our team goal, we are having the same team goal and mindset, that actually make everything so much easier.
Yes, I second with you, team spirit and team goal.
Yes.
So because the regional round was just concluded, so how about the preparation for the global round, and what your team's commitment on that?
Yes, Mo. So actually, the global round will be on November. We were not exposed to any motion yet, but guess what? My team already stuck to find who actually competed for the global round. So we can see how our team is like actually very passionate for the upcoming global round. We're not expecting much, to be honest, because we competed against the world most developed countries during that time. We actually represent not just Cambodia but the whole Asia Pacific region, so we might meet the winner from the other region. So let's say we're not expecting much, like 100% that we will win, but we just promise among ourselves that once we receive the motion and when we receive the topic, we will do our best to prepare all those, and we do our best to showcase that, oh, Cambodia is not just a developing country, but Cambodia is also full of the potential and human resources on the global stage as well.
Final questions about debating in Japan, like in the regional round one. So what was your feeling back then to bring the Cambodian flag into the stage, and you won it, your team won it, your team like nailed it. So what was the feeling and what messages you have for Cambodian people?
So when we were able to bring Cambodian flag on the stage, it's like a very, very proud moment, because at that time we did not expect that they will put us as Team Cambodia on the slideshow that has like thousands of people joining back then, because it's like we are having countries from all Asia Pacific joining. So we don't expect that when they announce the winner, we were allowed to go on the stage like a big group of Cambodian people, and we don't expect that they will like showcase a slide of putting us like Team Cambodia at all. And when they put the Team Cambodia name on the slide, it's actually a very, very proud moment, because like the other country would see like Team Cambodia is a champion on the slide and on the stage up there. So that was like a very, very, very proud moment that we can showcase to the other Asia Pacific countries that Cambodia is actually good, and Cambodia is actually improving right now. We are also having like, you know, people who know how to speak English. We also have people who are like the human resources of the country as well. So I would say that my main message to the younger generations, to friends, to the other youth, or to people who actually know about our debate, and not just like people who actually congratulate us, but I would say not just to senior, juniors, or the other youth. I would say that at first for us Cambodians, when we start to know that when the other countries, we're not trying to say that they look down on us, but when the other countries don't think that we know how to speak English well, I would say that is one factor that actually pushed us to do so much better on the stage. Because I would say that's sort of like a threaten, or that was like an indirect pressure, but it's one thing that we are having in our mindset that we would like to showcase to them. So to the other youth, I would say that in the current status quo, or in the current context of Cambodia is having a lot of good human resources, which I think they would represent Cambodia a lot on the international stage. So if you find that, oh, you might not be good enough, or if you find that you still need a lot of space to improve and stuff, that is actually totally okay. Because I have a mindset that instead of like not doing anything, at least start with a little step, because those little steps you will not know how those little steps actually improve Cambodia, to let the other countries know that Cambodia is also having a good human resources. So instead of like not leaving your comfort zone, or instead of like just hiding, try to showcase your skill and try to showcase your potential, because you will never know that one day maybe your potential can represent something for Cambodia at all. Because like for us three, people know us as the public speakers. Yes. And then suddenly out of nowhere, we form a team of 3 public speakers to be debaters, and see like that one sudden moment actually turned out to be something like a very proud moment, not just for three of us as a teammate, but also for the whole Cambodian on the Asia Pacific stage. So that is applying the same thing to the other youth as well. If you find that you might not be good at this, but who knows, like you're just saying to yourself, try it first and you will actually know whether or not you're good at it or whether or not you're having something you need to improve on. Because at the end of the day, we only live once, so do whatever you could or do whatever you want to, because at the end of the day, at least you experience something instead of like, just leaving it out and instead of just saying it out. So at the end of the day, I just hope that everyone could try their best in order to do something new, even though you find that you might not be good at it.
So once again, congratulations to your team, and we are really proud of you guys. So let's touch upon a bit on your academic study. You graduated with 2 degrees, one in international economics and
Yes.
another one in accounting and finance. So why did you decide to study those fields, and how did you manage your time? Because you might have a hectic schedule, busy schedule to balance between study and join other programs, and especially debating. Yes.
Okay, yes, Bong. So actually for me, I am not someone who is good at math at all. So accounting and finance is not really my dream major, to be honest. And honestly speaking, my parents want me to study that one, so I just like try it out back then, because actually at that time I agreed to try it out because I also don't really have much choice in my mind, because when I graduated from high school, that was during the COVID-19, so I didn't really know much about the majors and stuff. So I started with accounting and finance, but at the same time I tried out with the international relations. Until in year 4, I switched my specialization from international relations to international economics. So for me, I switched to international economics because I find that maybe international economics has something linked with the accounting and finance, even it might not actually. But still, for me, as someone who is not really good at math, studying those fields is like very, very challenging. When I started year 1 in terms of the accounting and finance, I don't really find interest that much at all until like in a few more years that I find a bit of interest into like audit and stuff. So even though as someone who's not good at math, I find accounting and finance is very challenging. But on the other hand, I find international economics like very interesting to me, because actually for me, international economics is not like a few economics of like doing all the coding and stuff, even though we learn about the economic coding, but it's not like a few economics. So I am exposed to various economic policies. I am able to see like, okay, how one country like manage the economic and stuff. So actually those economic policy really interest me a lot, because I am exposed to see how each country is able to lift up their country from developing to developed one. We can see like the process, because actually in reality we might see that when one country improve, it's just about having a lot of more money. But in fact, deep down there are many other factors that push one country to become richer or push one country to be more developed. So I would say like these two major, if you ask me, is it like very, very linked? The answer is actually no, but it's just that I want to do something that have number in it. That's why I choose international economics and accounting and finance. So I would say that these two majors, I find accounting and finance a very, very hard one for me, but luckily I survived it already. So at the end of the day, I would say that my job or my career path might not use those two like 100%, because I study 2 degrees, right? But I would say at least use a bit of everything from what I study in class, not just from international economics, but also from the accounting and finance course.
So how did you manage the time for them?
Oh yes, actually managing the time it is the question I receive a lot as well, and at that time I don't really know how to answer. For me, trying to manage the time between 2 majors while going to other competition or change program is actually very challenging. For me, I have a mindset that whenever I have to do something, I would just do it first. So example, if for me, I don't really set a priority. My priority is based on the deadline. Which one comes first, I do that one. So I don't really see like, oh, accounting and finance is more important and stuff, I do that one first. No, my priority is not based on how valuable it is, but based on how urgency it is instead. So that was when I try to complete all the tasks whatever I have to do. But during my time, for example, when I have to join competition, when I have to go abroad, I would say that I couldn't make it happen and I could manage it well. thanks to both school as well, because if both of my university are not understanding, I don't think that I will manage it well. But because they really understand well and they really push me a lot throughout my extracurricular activity, and they also push me in terms of my exchange program, so that really helped me out in terms of how I manage my study in class, but also how I manage able to still join and continue my passion.
Beyond your academic study, you also actively join many international programs abroad, including exchange programs as well as the other events as well. So how those experiences and lesson learned that you can share about the events that you join?
Yes, Bong. So for me, throughout the academic journey as well, I joined some other exchange programs abroad, not just in the Southeast Asia, but also like to the US. So actually those programs taught me one thing is about being independent and taking a risk. So actually being independent, when we talk, it sounds very easy, but in reality it's more than that. Example, like being away from home for months or being away from home like for many weeks and stuff. So actually those are one thing. But another thing is that while we are away from home during that time, it's about how we survive by having a good communication with the other people from different countries and from the other backgrounds. Because at first we thought that, talking to the other friends or people from the other countries might be easy, but actually it's not, because when we talk to the other people from different countries, it's not just about how fluency of our English is, but also about how our understanding and connection with that certain people. Because for example, when people from different religions, we have to understand about those people. Example like for me, I have a lot of like Muslim friends. So for me, I try to understand in terms of like their eating habit, their eating behaviors. So when I get to understand those things, it's actually helped me in something that I learned, that communication is not just about how good we are in talking, but also about how understanding we are in terms of like the other people background, and also our understanding toward their habits or their behavior as well. And those are one thing. But at the same time, it's also taught me in terms of like many new topics, especially in terms of the soft skill itself. Because when we went there, our confidence is like very important, especially whenever we went to the exchange programs. There will be always a time when we have to step up on stage to represent our country, not just doing the presentation or like doing the country presentation itself. So actually those part, we might think that, it's just a very simple one, just do a small presentation. For me personally, I always find that to be something like a shining part, because for me, I want to stand on that stage and showcasing to the other people that Cambodia is also good. So for me, I always have that mindset whenever I go abroad, because I want to showcase that to the other, like the Southeast Asian friends, or like to the other countries. So at the end of the day, joining those programs, it does not just allow me to bring Cambodia on the international stage, but also allow me to learn something new. So those soft skills, including like when we learn from the other countries' fellow or the other like countries' friends, because like when we learn from different cultures and different countries, it allowed us to expose to different understanding of like how one country work. Or for example, sometimes when we read the news of one country, we find it only like at this layer, but then when we get to talk to those people in that country, we actually can discover deeper than that. So for me, that actually helped me a lot with my understanding and also the exposure to different country contexts. At the same time, as I mentioned earlier, is of course with my communication and confidence skill when it's come to communicating with the other people, or whenever it's come to how I expose myself to talk to the other people. Because maybe for the extrovert might sound okay, but especially for those who are introvert, they would have a very hard time going to talk with the other people. So for me, joining those programs, it sounds very cool, it sounds very fancy, but deep down we learn a lot of things, not just like those technical topics. Example, when I joined the program about green economy, of course I learned about green economy, but deep down I also value a lot more in terms of those soft skills, how I communicate with the other people, how I get to represent the country itself, and also how I am also being able to like being more self-reliant and being more independent when it's come to traveling abroad.
So I think those experiences abroad shape your personal career as well, and now you immerse yourself in public work at the Ministry of Economic and Finance. So maybe talk a little bit about your work now. Yes. And what do you do, and what your contributions to the ministry?
Yes, well, so actually during my end of year 4, I applied to the Ministry of Economy and Finance. It was a very long process that I never thought I would make it because like many amazing Cambodian apply. So we took a test, we took an interview. So finally I got to be a budget analyst at the Ministry of Economy and Finance as a contracted worker. So during my time there, I would say that you might think, oh, working at the ministry, like from the general points of view, like from the public points of view, they might think the ministry is working very slow and stuff. But actually deep down, when once we become the public or the government stuff, we know that actually in order to make one thing done, it's really long process for sure. It need a lot of revision, it need a lot of discussion from different stakeholder. So at that time, I would say that I could apply one thing is in terms of like my public speaking skill into that one. Because for example, as we all know that during the ministry work, there sometimes need a lot of like MC and stuff, need a lot of like, drafting a speech, or sometimes we need to do like any certain presentation. So for me, like actually those soft skills that I learned really apply a lot to my work. Example, like the senior at my workplace would know that, oh, I am a public speaker and debater, so they would give me a chance to be the MC for any like certain big workshop or event. At the same time, since my work is more of like the ad hoc task, so we do a lot of research. So doing those research actually also like apart from what I learned from my university as well, because doing research is not just like, oh, research certain topic, but when we research, we know how to summarize, we know how to take a certain point that is actually relevant to what we're trying for. So for me, working in government sector, I would say I might not contribute like, as the government, like, we might not know how to contribute that much to make one country to be rich. When we were young, we're like, oh, once we grow older, let's make Cambodia rich. But once we become government staff, we just try to contribute as much as we can. For me, I don't think that I can contribute like a lot of things, because for me, I am still in the process of learning. Because when I step into the government sector, I find that actually there are many new things that I have to learn. Not just those technical words, but also how we adapt ourselves. Because I would say that working in government sector is a bit different. We need to learn like those small things, not just about how we adapt ourselves to the public sector itself, but also those technical knowledge that we have to learn very clearly. Example, when I learn in class, I actually learned about monitoring and evaluation. And then actually, luckily, when I get to work, I am in the department of monitoring and evaluation itself. However, when it's come to the real work, it's actually different from what we study. When we study, it sounds so easy. It's like, okay, what monitoring is, what evaluation is. But when we actually work, those tasks are very challenging, and it's not that easy as what we learn in class at all. So I would say I still have many more rooms to improve. I still have many things to learn along the way. But still, I just hope that at least like a bit of like soft skill in terms of the research or in terms of how I'm able to present myself on stage actually contribute something to the work itself.
So beyond working as a full-time at the ministry, you also involve yourself being a teacher, an English teacher. So why did you decide to teach, and what is one of the rewarding things of being a teacher?
Yes, Mo. So for me, teaching is actually the backup plan of mine. Like at that time, when I have my full-time job at the ministry itself, I already thought I actually don't really think about working as a teacher at all. But because like during my academic journey, I studied to university, so mostly I leave from home like early morning from 7 and I go back home like 8 p.m. at night. So when I start to have like a full-time job, I started to go to home too early. Like example, when I finish my government job, I leave at 5 p.m. So I find that I'm home like too early and I don't get myself used to it. And then I start to apply for a teaching job. So actually I apply for a teaching job not just because I find that I go home too early, but also at the same time, when I was young, I always like, act like a teacher to my sibling because I have sister and brother. So I always act like a teacher to them. So I find that teaching is somehow interests me a lot as well. And during my uni journey, I also sometimes invited to be like a mentor or trainer in public speaking and debating. So actually those experience actually find me that teaching is also like one part that actually interests me. So that's why I applied for teaching itself. And the most rewarding one from that is that when I went into like a teaching field, we started to understand the teacher feeling. Yeah, when we were the student, we don't really understand why the teacher did certain thing. But when once we become the teacher, we understand why teacher did those things back then to us during our class. And one of the most rewarding ever is that whenever it's the end of class, I'm very happy to see the improvement of students. And I would say that, oh, even those improvements, the student may think that it's like a very small improvement. But for us as a teacher, when we notice that certain student improve something a little bit, we actually feel very happy about that. So that's why for me, actually working for like 12 hours, actually from morning until 8:30 p.m. at night, it's very tiring, of course. But then after every class end, when I see the smile of the student, whenever I see that the student at least learn something new, like even one new word for a day, it's actually feel very rewarding for me, and it's actually pushed me to keep pursuing in the teaching field, even though, yeah, let's say it's like one of like my part-time job actually.
But looking further ahead, what do you see yourself in the future? Maybe short term, do you have any short term or long term goals?
Yes, well, so for me, I would say that I would expose myself to the working field first, like both sector, like in terms of teaching as well as the public sector. Because for me, I only like so far I don't even work like for 1 year yet. So I find that I still have a lot of things to discover itself. So for me, I would like try to work for like a year or like 2 years first in order to see, okay, which part am I really interested in. But for me, I would say that teaching is like one of like the things that interest me, but at the same time working in a public sector is also improved me a lot in terms of like the technical skill or technical knowledge. Like those knowledge I learned from my workplace is actually something that improved me a lot as well. So that's why I would say that I would want to discover first what I'm actually really into. But if possible, I really want to pursue those two at the same time, like what I'm doing now. Even it sounds like, oh, you're so selfish, why getting two, just get one. But still, I'm at a young age, so let's see first how much or how longer I can survive those two jobs. Because actually I have seen many lecturers who work two as well, so that's why actually those are something that inspire me. So I would say I will work for years first to see my interest and to gain those knowledge, because right now I don't think that I am like very like professional or like having many technical knowledge yet. So I would love to learn about it first before like pursuing the higher degree later on.
Oh, I see. So you also plan to apply for master degree in the future as well?
Yes, well.
So maybe final question for you. Could you please share maybe messages to our younger generation, especially young women who are hesitant to pursue what they're really into, but they still think that their English is not good enough, their confidence is not good. So maybe motivational message to them.
So to all the young girls who find that your English is not that good, or you find that you are right now still considering whether you want to try out something or not, for me as a girl as well, I would like to say to you that girls, we only live once as the boys or as the other people. So why not trying doing something that you actually want to? Because at the end of the day, if you just keep telling yourself that, oh, I want to do this, but there's no action, so that means there's no action at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's just like the words you are telling to yourself. So if you feel like you want to do something, just go for it, as long as it does not harm other people, as long as it does not negatively affect anyone. So, and at the same time, if you find that your English is actually limited, trust me, people know me now might not believe that my English before was very bad. Guess what? When I went on stage, I tried to memorize all the script, because I know myself that my English was not flexible back then. So that means I could not really find a good word when it's come to the flexibility of using English. So that applied the same thing to you all. If you find that your English was not that really good, it need the practice. Sometimes when you're at home at night, when you did not sleep yet, try to talk some English to yourself, even those random nonsense. Because when the more we practice of something, the more that our mindset and our brain get used to it. So that actually applied the same thing to me. When I studied during my high school, my English was not that good until I stepped into the university, where the whole 4 years we use a lot of English. That was when I noticed that, oh, actually using English every day really improved my flexibility and really improved my understanding. So I hope that the English and example, as well as your mindset of wanting to try something out, shall not be a barrier for you to do something that you want to pursue for. At the end of the day, you should have the same rights of going for what you are aiming for, as well as doing something that you want. English shall not be a barrier because English is something that you can improve on. At the same time, live out your comfort zone because at the end of the day you only live once, so why not doing those action, taking action for those things. So one day you might feel grateful for it because taking action for something, even if you fail, even if you pass, still is an experience at the end of the day. At least you know that you can make it or not, at least you know that there's any room for you to improve for. So I hope that you all could pursue something that you want despite the gender or despite any barrier, and I can tell you that and I can prove to you that those barriers shall not be something that limit your capability and limit your potential at all.
So anyway, I hope your story can inspire other young women to study harder, work harder towards their dreams. And thank you very much for joining with us today.